So Rory, we've talked a lot about design and what the future office will look like. I mean, you and I are both involved with some pretty, groundbreaking schemes that are looking very, very exciting. But what are those elements that are going to make up those office environments that people are going to be drawn to?
For me, I think it starts with, the environment itself has got to be flexible. It's got to be adaptable, because I think businesses are going to be, needing to change and adapt and evolve far more than perhaps they have done in the past. But I think they will look at what that building offers them. So I think it's amenity, yes, and we've kind of talked a lot about that in terms of health and well-being, whether that's, a gym within the building or nearby, whether it's meeting spaces, whether it's flex space within the building. But I also think it'll look at how that building interacts with its community. And I think that's going to be really important. So a kind of flexible environment, an amenity-rich environment, an environment that addresses a wellness agenda, a sustainability agenda, I think is going to be really important for occupiers. That point that you mentioned earlier, the sustainability story and how a developer responds to it will no longer sit at the back of a marketing presentation. It's going to sit there front and centre along with their own agenda as a developer. So I think for me, the office environment of the future is going to look very different to perhaps what we're delivering, in the here and now.
Yeah, I think for me, it's creating healthy spaces. And, in every sense of the word, whether that's mental health, making people feel better when they arrive, whether that's music playing or the smell of coffee in the morning or that kind of thing, or just someone, very concierge-like coming over and asking how you are or can I help you today or that kind of thing. I think, the world of hospitality and offices have been merging for a while, but I think this is playing right into the hands. And it's not just about putting bike racks in and lockers in, that's something we've been doing for a long time now. It's about, can we create studio space that can turn, it could be a town hall 1 minute and it could be doing yoga classes another, or you could have personal trainers coming in, or could you have physiotherapists coming in for the day, that kind of thing. I think it'll help those firms provide a better place for their staff, and the real estate will work hand in hand with a corporate strategy as well. I think we'll see bring the outside in. I think we'll see much more greenery, much more focus on the outside world coming into spaces, less about marble, and glass and cold finishes. I think you'll see a lot softer and warmer design coming into office spaces, even some of the big buildings and the big towers in the city as well. We've talked a lot about the TMT and tech sector at the moment, and we touched on legal earlier as well, but, where is the next wave of demand going to come from? Because that's a question we're being asked a lot, and what sectors are going to be the sort of key stars of 2022?
Stars of 2022, well, referenced in the London report, we're absolutely going to see more activity from the financial services sector and the professional services sector. TMT will play a part in it, but I think what's really interesting is perhaps looking at some of those emerging sectors. One example, of course, would be the life science sector, and you've had some great experience with that sector in White City. Yeah,
it's massively evolving, and as you can expect, after the 12 months we just have, life sciences and the research into that is hugely fast growing and growing a lot of investment and a lot of traction. I think White City was an amazing example of clustering around Imperial College. A lot of the businesses that have joined that campus have relationships with that knowledge cluster that is one of the world's leading universities. I think going across London, you'll see that as well. People start to cluster around the Crick Institute. But I think around King's Cross, that northern belt across the city, you'll see more activity from the life sciences sector.
So Johnny, what are you excited about for the next 12 months?
Definitely going for a pint with you, Rory, and going to a pub again. That would be absolutely thrilling. In all seriousness, though, I think we'll see as the vaccine programme rolls out and gains more momentum, and the world starts to reopen again, I think you'll see our market reopening again, and I think you'll see people cautiously reoccupying the city. But what I'm hopeful of is that will be quite fast in its unravelling, and you'll see people flock to, enjoy the fruits of London again.
Yeah, and for me, I'm really excited and fascinated by kind of what the response to the pandemic is going to be in terms of how that's going to translate to what office environments look like. I think we're seeing a lot of that in terms of the discussions and we're having with design meetings and with developers about what that building's going to look like, but actually it's the kind of occupier response and how they use those spaces and how they positively respond to some of the schemes that we're going to be bringing on stream.
I think it's going to be fast paced as well. I think once the people are comfortable again and the world starts to open up and confidence comes back, I think you'll see that pace gather, and I think it'll be a really frantic end to the year and really fast start to 2022. Rory and I have covered a lot of ground today, but we've only really scratched the surface. To go into it in a lot more detail, download a copy of the London Report.